every situation is a life or death situation for the first responders behind the nonprofit Boston MedFlight. The nearly 40-year-old organization transports critically hurt or ill patients to life-saving care. And every year, the nonprofit hosts a reunion to give former patients the chance to meet the team that saved their lives. I'm joined now by two former patients. Dr. Jeffrey Wish was transported twice in June of 2017, and his wife, Cindy Wish, who was transported a year later in July 2018. We also have the Director of Aviation Operations for Boston MedFlight, Mark Honorato. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. After reading your story or learning a little bit, I can't decide whether you two are the luckiest people or the unluckiest people in the world, being saved 3 times in one couple. I guess if we could start with you. If you could tell me, and again, as much as you feel comfortable, I know we're talking about health conversations, but you can tell me a little bit about how you ended up being saved twice, where and when, what happened.
Yeah. Sure. So we were vacationing, and we were on the Cape, and went out to our favorite ice cream shop with my wife and my 2 sons, when all of a sudden I started to feel somewhat dizzy, and I said, gee, let's go back to the car, and I sat down in the car and noticed that I was really sitting in a pool of blood. So I said, I think we ought to go to the hospital. Now, you know, I'm a physician, so I kind of figured that out pretty quickly. We went to a local hospital, and it became imminently clear that I was having a major life-threatening intestinal bleed. And at that point, I was receiving multiple transfusions, and it was clear that it was very difficult to get this bleed under control. And that's when Boston MedFlight was called in, because it became clear after a number of units of blood that I needed to get to a higher level of critical care. At that point, as I was recalled, I didn't have a significant blood pressure, and things were not looking pretty good. And Boston MedFlight came on the scene, and the first person I saw was Kristen, who was the critical care nurse, and she introduced herself and said, "I'm here to take care of you," and assess the situation. And what was remarkable about this entire experience, and which is why my life is owed in its entirety to this incredible group of healthcare professionals, is because as they were rolling me out to the helicopter, she said, you know, let me just check your blood pressure one more time. And she checked my blood pressure, and all of a sudden I saw a look on her face that didn't look good. She said, I can't take you, Dr. Wish. And I said, why not? She goes, you don't have a recordable blood pressure, and I really can't take you if you're not stable. And I said, Kristen, I said, this isn't good as a physician. I'm telling you this is not good, and if you don't take me, I think I'm going to die. And she verified the situation again, and she said, well, you know, let me grab another unit of blood. And actually, at that time, you guys were not routinely using blood, but she said, let's just take another unit of blood, which was available. And she said, do you mind if I give you this agent that we use in the battlefield, you know, to help stop bleeding? She said, but you could have a stroke or a heart attack. And I said, I'll worry about that later. You know, so they got me in a helicopter and took a real chance because from her perspective, you know, I was not as stable as she wanted me to be. The flight went off, and the next thing that was fairly significant, the bleeding had stopped somewhat, but we were about 5 minutes out, and Larry, who was the critical care paramedic who was at my side, I had difficulty breathing, and I knew something wasn't right, and I said, could you turn the oxygen up more? And he said, it's as high as it can go, Dr. Wish. He said, just grab my hand and hold on. We're like 3 or 4 minutes out. You've started to bleed again. You have no blood pressure. And it was at that moment I think I was really the most fearful for me, because I was minutes out and I was sinking pretty quickly. Landed at the Brigham and Women's Hospital, where the team, it was a ballet. They just handed me off and ended up in the ICU for 3 days, and thank goodness everything turned out well after that first flight.
Wow. It's an amazing, harrowing story, and I'm so glad you're here now to be able to tell it. I'd love to hear so much more, but for the amount of time we have and so many stories to hear, Cindy, you also had an experience being saved by the same nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit of your story, too?
Yes, we had just sailed into Nantucket Harbor, and I'm an experienced sailor, and I missed a step. I dislocated a few ribs, and they were concerned about blood going into my chest. Coast Guard got me to the land, and I got to the hospital, and they knew at that hospital, Cottage Hospital, that I needed to be in Boston. So I was airlifted by this gentleman, and the compassion and the ability to know what they were doing was extraordinary. And I would cross an ocean. I don't want to get up in a helicopter, but I did. And they all made it worthwhile, obviously made it worthwhile, but they made it with such extraordinary care. And my story about the hand holding is also, the nurse said to me, do you need any more? Because I was in a lot of pain, but I had medication. And I said, just hold my hand. And this young man took my hand and just held it all the way to the Brigham. And it made it all unbelievable, that human touch. But that's how they do it.
That's really quite remarkable. And the other thing about this organization is also that you have this reunion that is part of the tradition, and you meet the people who saved you. I know you didn't go to the last time, but you've been at other years.
Oh, yes.
And have you met each other at another time? Can you remember that time you
we
first
still
met
hug.
each other?
We still hug. Yes, I do. We've been to at least two, one after you and then one after me, and I got to meet the pilot that took me.
So when did you meet Mr. Honorato?
Was it...
it was the family reunion, I think, in 2019.
19, because mine was 18.
Yeah.
Right, it was 2019.
And the interesting thing is, from our perspective, we're charged, the critical care transport system brings the right vehicle to the right patient at the right time. And typically, they're in a hospital room, they're being treated, and we can't really recognize the patient as they're being treated. But in the reunion, they wear name tags, as do we, and then we look for matches.
Yeah.
So I was able to see Mrs. Wish.
Yeah.
Crew was myself and a critical care transport nurse and a paramedic.
Yeah.
And we were able to connect from there and say, oh, I remember the story now.
Yeah.
So the patient reunions are very rewarding, I think, for both.
Oh, so why does it make you feel so good?
It gives the Boston MedFlight personnel who work so hard some closure to say, look how good our patients are doing. And then, I can't speak for the patients, but just that I remember you now, although you gave me a lot of medicine not to remember me then. So I think it's a good closure for both of us to reunite and say the system works.
How long have you worked there?
I've worked almost 6 years. 6 years, August 1st for me.
And what makes Boston MedFlight special for you?
It's I came from a military background, public service background, and I think as a nonprofit, it's still community service that we provide a service for the community that's really unmatched across the industry.
So my understanding is if you need help and you don't have the money to pay for it, you don't have insurance, the organization will cover it?
Yeah, correct. We treat patients regardless of ability to pay. In fact, almost $7 million per year in unreimbursed and uncompensated medical care is provided by Boston MedFlight. The consortium hospitals are more concerned with treating the patient and getting that patient to the right level of treatment than they are about the payment afterwards.
So where does this money come from that covers all of this?
We're a charitable organization. We take donations. A big part of the patient reunion was that. Then the consortium hospitals, the 7 Boston-based teaching hospitals that our consortium, if there is a delta at the end of the year, they make up that delta to provide that service to the community.
Wow. So I know that you folks have spoken on behalf of this organization before. Tell us why it's important to you to tell these stories.
Well, I think, it's one of those things where if you don't know about it, you don't know about it until you need it. And there's just no doubt in my mind, I would not be sitting here today if it weren't for these folks. And, they're picking people off highways, the Vineyard, Nantucket. It's a critical organization which remarkably doesn't require payment from patients, regardless of who you are. And I just feel like it is an extremely important philanthropic need that we need to continue to remind people of, because you don't think about it until you need it. And then it's life-saving.
Mrs. Wish, you had something
No,
else
but
to say?
that's it. I mean, we're very healthy individuals, and we're active, and this happened to us. So people think, oh, somebody had to be sickly or something to get picked up. It's an accident, and it can happen to anybody. And to have someone pick you up and take you to the hospital is pretty impressive with the care and the professionalism.
Well, that's the other thing I think that it's really important to point out. You know, I've been in medicine for over 40 years, and you know, when you're in the heat of the battle and paying attention to what you need to do to sustain one's life, that's a critical element. But to be able to then move this on to holding one's hand and offering emotional support, that's very powerful. And for me, certainly, you know, something that made a big difference. And these folks are trained to do both, and they do it incredibly well.
Well, thank you so much for coming tonight and telling these stories, and thank you for your service and doing this type of work. I hope all of us have the chance to have something like that if we need that type of help.
Thank you.
Thank you.